Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing marvelously well. I'm sitting here with the rather wonderful Mr. Joe Carrell.
Woo! And I'm sitting here with the Mr. Wonderful Warren Hewitt.
Or Mr. Marvelous.
Or Mr. Marvelous, that's right.
Yeah, I'll go with wonderful. So we both know and love LiquidSonics plugins, particularly, of course, Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
I did a deep dive into it, and I've been using it on and off for a while because, and of course, the one that, I think we're allowed to say this, that it's modeled after a Bricasti M7.
Yeah.
I think we're allowed to say that.
I hope so, because we just did.
Yeah. Sorry if we were not allowed to say it, which of course is, I hate this, I've used this phrase twice in the last 3 days, industry standard.
It is an industry standard.
I hate saying that, but the reality is when you go into any major studio.
That's right behind us, yeah.
There's always, pretty much 90% of the time is going to be a Bricasti M7. And with the Seventh Heaven, I love it, I'm sure you love it for many reasons, is most reverbs are very tweakable, except 95% of the tweaks are completely unnecessary. And you're like, why do I need control over that? And it's not sounding any better.
And it's work to get through to it.
Yeah, exactly. But with the Seventh Heaven, you can do things like, because typically, obviously, with drum rooms, which we will look at in a second, you want ambience, and you do want ambience on the kick, but you don't want it to go on for the full 1.5 second, because then suddenly your low end is completely unusable in your mix. And with the Seventh Heaven, you can just get in there and have that but just make it the decay the same length as a natural kick. And suddenly you've got the ambience you want.
But you can have the air on the top end that lasts a full second if you want it to, or something. Yeah.
So what I wanted to do, because frankly, he doesn't want to be called an expert, so I'm not going to call you expert. Did I say that word, expert? I'm sorry. But
okay.
You've been using LiquidSonics longer than I have.
Yeah, So I got their everything bundle at Christmas time, and I started creating a bunch of presets, and I wish I had them with me today.
We're in
I started
Texas.
going through. Yes, we are. I started going through Tai Chi, cinematic rooms, and some of the non Seventh Heaven. Some of the others, because I'd purchased Seventh Heaven like 2 years ago, used it on everything, every mix, and like most of us do.
Did you buy it just out of interest because of Bricastis and you knew the connection?
Exactly.
Okay.
I wanted that. You have to have some of those patches. You have to. You have to is a strong word.
Yeah.
But most of us working professionals need to, because some of our peers know those patches and they will even call them by name. Sure. Same with the Lexicon 480. I mean, there's some things you have to have. And that said, I had not really dove into their other products. I thought, the Seventh Heaven is amazing. So I bet some of these other products are amazing too. So I downloaded them, and the next thing I have the everything bundle. So what I thought we would start with, we can do, most people want to hear it on drums and vocals, right? That's kind of the two things. So let's just start with drums. And the thing I've got pulled up here is cinematic rooms. And the thing about it is, I think there's probably, I had a misconception. I'll just admit it. You hear the title and you assume it's your grand orchestral hall. And you know what? It is. But is that all it is? It's not. In fact, the way I've used this the most in mixes to this point, despite how great the big tail sounds, is see down here in the bottom, right here, reflection versus reverb mix. I can go to all early reflections and put just a little bit of a texture, just a little bit of a space around something that I want otherwise dry. Whether it be the first step of a vocal before I build my overall picture, an acoustic guitar, a great number of things. And so I'll just take this and turn it to early reflections, and I'm not even using the right-hand side of the plug-in, because these early reflections are wicked awesome, to use a phrase from the, what would that be, the early 90s? But I'm old enough
I do remember the phrase.
Yeah, wicked awesome.
In lots of...
Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. We're going to be able to give these multi-tracks away a link again. And so you guys that weren't around, maybe you're new subscribers to the channel or didn't get around to it last time, we'll have a fresh link to these multi-tracks.
They are fantastic.
Because they are fantastic. It's some of the best musicians in Nashville.
You did an amazing job recording.
Thank you so much. But anyway, all that to say, I've got some drums featured up here, and I've got a send on some toms and some snares. So let's just start playing. Factory default. So let's just see what sounds good. Why don't we go to Live Room Studio? What do you think?
Yeah.
How about Damped Stone? This is the dry drums, and I apologize for some plugins missing from the mix because it's several years old, but it's still close. So let's unmute the drum reverb and hear Brick Drum. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. Now that's short, but let's go up to 1 second just to hear it. That's a nice space around the drums for sure. Let's try some others. Let's go to studios, live room. Let's go to.
And what are you sending? A blend of the whole mix?
No,
or
this
just a snare?
is the snare. Let me move this out of the way a little bit. This is the snare only, and the toms, which of course we're not hearing the toms yet. So it's mostly just the snare. It looks like there was a room mic too, a mono room mic that's hitting a little bit of it. So let's go to Marble Studio. 2 seconds. This should be at this tempo. That should be a lot of reverb. But now that's explosive.
Yeah,
I do like it. So let's take that down. You were mentioning earlier that you had mapped out one of your
my old room
older
was
rooms,
3/4 of a second.
3/4 of a second. So you know that sound. Let's just do it. So this would be no reverb.
Let's play around with this reflection reverb mix.
Yeah, you got it. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the, and we're going to go 100% reverb tail, and we'll just kind of hear that on just the drums. It's a nice sounding space, by the way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Marble Studio to about a little 0.84. So what I'm going to do, I'll take the reverb and take the tail down, favoring the early reflections kind of in real time, so you guys can kind of hear it.
There's a point about, go up a little bit more.
Yeah.
It just adds a really nice body to the snare, doesn't it?
Yeah. So here's no reverb.
So maybe shorten it ever so slightly again.
Shorten the
We'll go back to reflection side.
reflections. Okay. And I'll go back to 3/4 of a second, just because that's your kind of what you know best. I like that.
It's great.
I like that a lot. That's the Marble Studio, and you'll see we have filters, that we can drag around, and you can change the slopes of them. For the high end. So if we wanted to darken the room, which at this tempo we don't, we want it to be ruckus. But if we did.
My gut is because the body's being added with reflections on the snare, it'd be nice to, have a darker reflection, so it's all about the body, but then the reverberation, the kind of make that brighter.
We can do that.
Great.
So right here, just built right in. So we can roll that off to where it's, 500 cycles, 800 cycles, somewhere in that range. We're not getting a lot of air on the reflections, but you click this button right here, it says EQ. And then we can add, whatever you want to do. If we wanted to add some 8K is like where it's just kind of parked by default, just so the guys can really hear it. Let's just take it down to 1K. That is aggressive. That is aggressive. So let's just raise it up to be a little prettier. Now, of course, if we wanted some more of that 1K nastiness in there, we can easily do that too. I ought to save that as a preset because I'm kind of digging that. To be real honest, one more time. Here's the dry drum. That's cool. Let's try some other presets while we're here. I mean, we're here. We're here and everything.
Let's have some fun with it.
What about tight live? Let's try that. And let's turn the EQ off for now. Let's just go back to some factory default stuff. So that's a half second. Their algorithms are just second to none to me. Let's just try some ambience. How about Helios ambience?
I mean, I suppose Helios for, everybody knows Zeppelin, Headley Grange, when the Lever,
yeah.
But that's a famous console, and then of course it had the slap back on it as well.
I wonder if hey, I have not tried this patch, so let's do. make it longer just so we really hear what it's adding, and then we'll take it back down.
I mean,
that sounds great.
It's a great reverb. I'm going to pose this, and lots of people watching this might be thinking the same thing. You just pick a reverb, a random reverb from there, and then you tweak it till it works.
Exactly right.
It's almost like every single one has something that you can then tweak to make it perfect for what you want.
I mean, it's got a dynamic section, and I got to be real honest, I have not played with that. I've always been able to pick a preset and do something super fast, you know, without getting into the weeds, which honestly I like. You know, most of the time, you know, we kind of have an idea in our head, and it's like the quicker I can get that done and move on. And I feel like this is one of those things I can get into the weeds if I want to, but I don't have to.
Well, we all know a gated reverb sound.
Sure.
Which can be like massive, but we make it so.
Yeah.
But a ducker, of course, would be the snare hit and then a.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to try that?
Shoot, yeah, why not?
Yeah, throw you under the bridge to make it work properly, rather than me going.
So let's make it a little longer. Okay, so the reverb ducker. What do we want to do here?
Okay, so now shorten the release a little bit.
Yeah, where's the release? Yeah, here we go. Ratio, knee, attack. All that seems like it'd be about right, doesn't it?
Maybe just turn the root trim up.
Yeah.
What's the fastest release? A faster release time?
Fastest release?
Or faster? There it is.
Combined, like that can be combined with the gate if you want to create some.
You open that can, off you go.
Yeah. I was in a sweet spot a while ago. There we go. There you go. Now we're getting a little more in Phil Collins territory. Yeah. But I mean, it's intuitive, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's pretty easy to use if I wanted to do that kind of a thing.
That's been the thing, you know, with LiquidSonics plugins. Is like they make sense. There's so many, and look, I love some of the. I'm not going to mention all the companies, but we all know the ones that have been around for decades. It's like they do a lot of fancy things, but they're fiddly and too many drop-down menus and whatever. I don't know. I think there's a reason why so many people love the LiquidSonics stuff, because it's really dumb. But it's not like dumb like one knob. It's just like I know what all of that does, and I really don't ever really gate reverbs very often.
No, me neither.
I do reverb ducking, but only on vocals.
Right.
You know.
Speaking of vocals, should we hear?
Let's hear some vocals.
Let's hear James. So this is our buddy James Dupre, which you and I know. You know, I produced a track, but you met him during the contest.
Yeah, wonderful.
Great guy.
The world don't need another love song. Too many love songs.
So that's the kind of deal that we're going to do. So do you want to stick with Cinematic Rooms and hear some of what it has to offer?
Well, what is the Tai Chi?
Okay, so the Tai Chi.
The world don't need another love song.
So that's just this default. But listen, I mean, gosh, listen to the lush.
The world don't need another love song to.
I love that tail. Golden Room. Okay, so what I liked about this is how customizable it is quickly in frequency response. Okay. So, you know, let's say we don't want that top end.
The world don't need another love song, too many love songs.
We can make it a 3-band if we want to. So it's like, I want all of this lower. Well, just do this, you know.
The world don't need another love song, too many.
So the air, you know.
The world don't need another love song too.
Yeah, I mean, so you can
air went out of the tires, did you hear it?
So you can get, okay, what I've liked about this on drums is I can get exactly what I want to out of the sizzle of around the cymbals and the snare. But of course, that would apply to
that must be fun to sort of put on most of the elements like kick, snare, etc., and then full mix.
Yeah,
like
it's let's just play with some some of their presets, you know, like, so, okay, vintage. Let's don't go vintage. Everyone knows what that is. Let's do crush chamber. Why not?
The world don't need another love song. Too many
I'm going to turn it up just so we have too much of it, just so they can really hear the verb itself, even though it's too much.
The world don't need another love song. Too many love.
It's nice.
Yeah, really nice. One thing I like about this and some other plugins out there on the market nowadays is when they have stereo widening built into it. So this is, you know, a default here, but check this out.
The world don't need another love song.
Or
the world don't need another love.
So
I love that.
I love being able to, you know, change the spread on a reverb. And, you know, like my shorter room I know you've done this too.
Yeah.
I like to stack reverbs a lot of times.
Yeah.
My shorter space or my shorter delay, bring it in.
Yeah.
And then my longer one,
because it just reinforces the energy of the vocal, and there's that little tiny. There's no pre-delay selected on it.
No.
But for some reason, it feels like it's just. Play it again.
Okay.
The world don't need another love song. Too many love songs don't come true.
That's 1.7.
Yeah.
I love it.
The world don't need another love song.
And now we do also have the reflection reverb blend knob, which I love. So this would be a lot of tail. Let's get the width back up there a little bit so they can really hear the difference.
The world don't need another love.
Tail, reflection.
The world don't need another love song to me.
Okay, so that is a perfect example of why I've been using a ton of the LiquidSonics early reflections. Yeah. Check, I mean, that is amazing.
The world don't need another love song.
Okay, so here's what I'm proposing. Yeah. So if this is my first reverb, and I'm trying to make him sound in a space, but I don't want a big tail, you know what? So I'll put something like this up first.
The world don't need another love song. Too many.
So all of a sudden he's in a room, and then I can combine that with whatever I want to. Like they have a plug-in we haven't showed it yet called HD Cart. That's some of those classic patches from Lexicon. So what if I want to put just a little bit of plate, you know, for my space, but I want, you know, some kind of a room with it that's just a little more realistic, and maybe from verse to chorus, I'm, you know, changing that blend. Their reflections are just top shelf to me. No, personally.
I'm feeling the same thing. What I'm feeling here is I would bring the width down, and I would experiment with adding a little bit of pre-delay.
Okay, so how far down are you thinking?
Just listen to it.
Right there?
Yeah.
The world don't need another love song. Too many love.
That's with pre-delay off. So let's start. You want to start inching that up?
Yeah, inch it up.
The world don't need another love song. Too many love songs don't come true.
Tasty.
That is really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I'd probably that would be it. And then I would, like you said, I'd be adding like a plate maybe, and maybe some short and long delays, like deliberate delays, with the top rolled off.
We see. So right there, it was in this patch. The default was 11. I think it was 11K. So if we wanted to darken the room a touch,
the world don't need another love song. Too many love.
Nice. Oh my God, that is good.
That's great. Yeah. And I agree with you. That's like the bass vocal sound.
Yeah.
That could be the verse, and then you bring in a little bit more on a pre-chorus, or some other instruments come in.
Well, let's just do that. Let's get him out of solo and bring him into verse mode.
Nothing on this highway but signs and lines, and too much time to think of you. I keep changing stations every half.
Here's with no reverb. This is a dry vocal.
Nothing on this highway but signs and lines, and too much time.
I mean, it doesn't sound like a star yet, right? Yeah, he needs to be, you know, just a little glamorous.
Nothing on this highway but signs and lines, and too much time to think of you. I keep changing stations every half a mile. But
It's starting to sound like a record.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, what if we change reflection and reverb tail and start adding some of the tail in with it without going to a separate send?
Nothing on this highway but signs and lines, and too much time to think of you. I keep changing stations every half.
That doesn't suck right there.
It's great. I'm hearing, you know, if I just didn't know what we had done, I'd be like, oh, they've got a little bit of a slap going on there, a little bit of verb on it, and it's all coming from that one plugin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because of the pre-delay. And that's in that magic kind of 60 milliseconds, which is a sort of Elvis-y area, isn't it? You
Right.
know,
I think it's 67 is what we have. And that's 1.7. You know, if we wanted a little bit more moodiness on the reflection part, we could extend it a little. I think that was
Nothing on this highway but signs and lines.
and then take it back towards reflection a little.
Nothing on this highway but signs and lines, and too much time to think of you. I keep changing.
This is a killer plugin. I've got some bombastic drum rooms that I've saved at home. I wish I had them with me.
why is it that with LiquidSonics, I honestly don't know why. Why does it all it's all musical and it all makes sense to our brains? I mean, Reverb plugins have been around for a long time, but I've never been able to kind of like get into it and make sense of it like I can with them. What did you think it is?
I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I did. I actually don't know anyone from the company. I've never met anybody, never spoke to anybody, any trade shows or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like these guys. I'm just an end user and just really respect what they do.
Because I've had some really good sounding Reverb plugins, I'm sure you have too, but I tend to just kind of open them up and choose something and off you go.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to tweak it. I either like it or not. There's some reverbs I'm just like, I use this reverb for this reverb for that. Like the Valhalla stuff is great, but I don't really tweak it much. I tweak it a little bit. This one, I don't know. I mean, I'm also a little bit like, I could use any one of these only.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Could use just this
100%.
or just the cinematic.
I've got this guitar that it's a baritone guitar.
Nice.
That's kind of a really big deal on the intro and turn. Let me kind of remove my automation and get it more in the center, so guys, when they're listening, don't hear it way over here. And it's making up this kind of a part. Just love it. So he's really dry. I've got all the reverbs turned off. Let's just start dealing with something. Let's put it in solo, I think, just so the guys can really hear what it's doing. So let's go to factory default, and let's just make sure that is unmuted, because I was trying to make sure that there wasn't a lot of reverb slapping the guys in the face. So I've got it. This may be way too much. Yeah, here we go. Okay, first of all, I'd buy that. That's a factory default, and I'd buy that album. Okay, that said, what would you like to see? What would you like to see? Spaces. I mean, there's some crazy stuff in here.
Give me crazy.
You want crazy?
I want to hear crazy.
Let's hear it.
Crazy.
Listen to some of that. But, we can customize the crap out of it if we want to. Hypersaw hyperspace.
Okay.
It's okay. It's short, tight, crispy. How about some chorus?
Can we exaggerate that a bit more?
Yeah. What would you like to hear?
I just want to hear the effect a bit more nutty.
Oh,
You're
okay.
saying chorus, it's...
Yeah, let's see. What do we do here? What if we change the time up a little bit? Let's put it to 4-band and take some of that high frequency down, and we can just slide it to, I don't know, 3K or something like that.
Yeah, so let's mess with the pitch control, see if we can make that chorus a bit more revolting.
We got these tabs up here, see, equalizer, dynamics, chorus, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, here.
That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a modulation rate and there's a wander depth. I don't know. Try the wander depth.
Okay, all right.
I have no idea. All right, modulation rate. I suppose we could mess with that.
Do you want it real long like that, the 47?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, all right. The modulation rate, you want to turn it up?
Yeah.
And see, we have oh gosh, listen to that.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah. So what's this thicken? Hit that. And there's a detune as well.
Thicken.
At the top there.
This right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So we'll turn the detune off. That's a little too much. There's probably a way to control it.
So in the track with the detune on.
Okay, okay.
With the detune on.
With the detune on.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. You got it.
I like it with the detune on in the track.
Yeah, in the track, you're right.
Because it sounds like somebody who's overplaying it slightly.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a fantastic part, but it's very down, 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 very well played.
There's 3 of them stacked together to create that. There's the main octave, harmony, and then the lower baritone octave.
With that detuned a bit, it sounds a little bit more like down, 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 a little less kind of down, down, a little bit more. Who said you can have fun while mixing?
That's right. What if we go like classic, like 80s rock, you know, like a big guitar in a big space, you know, kind of hairband thing. And let's go back up to the master. Let's do reverb time. It's pretty long, but we can go. It is. We can go a little long. You want what? Let's increase the pre-delay a little bit, a little more slappy. Or do we get rid of it to where it's all?
I get rid of it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't feel like we need it on this.
Okay. What? Do you want to put some chorus on it?
Maybe the detune a bit.
The detune a little bit. Okay. Let's do that. And now, you know, we do also have this reverb and reflection option. So you want to go more tail and see what that does?
In the track?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
That's way too much, but that's a nice patch.
Yeah. Too much. You can never have too much.
It's one of these things, honestly, to me, I feel like Tai Chi especially, we could sit here for another hour and barely be scratching at the surface of what all it can, you know. I sat down for several hours one day and started making my own presets for it, you know, just kind of playing with their starting points.
Wow.
And I had
dedicated.
I got to tell you, I had a blast. I had because I like to kind of reinvent reverbs every year and, you know, not get too stale. And this is one of those that's like, okay, this guy, it does some super out of the box things that all of a sudden I can start throwing on some guitar solos, some lead vocals, some drum rooms, whatever the case may be. And some of my existing clients that think they know me all and being like, what's that? You know what I mean? And I love being able to do that, reinvent, re-energize clients towards you know, bring them back.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
This is a plugin that did that for me this December when I sat down. I was like, wow.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if we're authorized to do this, but I'm going to do this. We'll give away, I have no idea. We're going to give away 3 copies.
If it comes out of our pocket, we have
Eric will pay for it.
That's right.
But I love this Tai Chi. I think we're going to give away 3 copies.
I mean, literally, we have only scratched the surface. Yeah. You should go back to LA or London, wherever you're going to be on your next flight. LA. You're going to be in LA?
We're in Texas at the moment. We'll be in LA tomorrow. So we're all flying back to LA, and you're flying back to Nash Vegas.
I am.
I'm in Cashville.
Bright and early tomorrow morning. But I highly suggest in your next hour of free time, which I know you don't have, but nonetheless, when you do have a little free time, give this guy a spin, and you'll come up with some presets that I think you'll be like, wow.
Great.
You know?
Well, we're going to give away 3 copies, and we'll figure out how that's going to happen later. But 3 copies are being given away. There's a link down below. Joe, thank you ever so much.
Man, yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
Wonderful masterclass.
It was a great time.
We need to keep doing these things.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
We've got lots more coming up.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, goodbye.